Rapper and studio executive 50 Cent was reported to have taken to social media to celebrate being the only famous name Taylor Swift mentioned on her newly released 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl. Observers said that in a post shared on his Instagram account on Friday, 50 Cent remarked that Swift's project was exploding in popularity at that moment, and he highlighted that she had given him a name drop, while jokingly pointing out that others had not received the same recognition. He was quoted saying in his caption that Swift's material was popping right now and that she had shouted him out, while laughing that she had not shouted anyone else out, before adding a playful line insisting that such acknowledgments were reserved only for the big-timers. He tagged his page, at 50 Cent Action, and continued by writing that he had realized he was the only person to receive a shout-out on the entire record, emphasizing his point in a tone filled with pride and humor. His name appeared in Swift's sixth track, Ruin the Friendship, where she included a direct reference to a 50 Cent song in the middle of her storytelling lyrics. The words went, and it was not an invitation, but as the 50 Cent song played, should have kissed you anyway, and it was not convenient. No, would have been the best mistake, should have kissed you anyway, hey why? Fans and analysts pointed out that the rapper immediately seized the moment online to bask in the unique mention, especially since Swift had not filled the album with references to other celebrities, making his inclusion stand out all the more. The Life of a Showgirl, which marked Taylor Swift's 12th studio album, officially dropped on Friday, and quickly sparked conversations across media outlets, fan groups, and industry insiders. During a sit-down interview on BBC Radio 1 that same day, Swift was asked about the album's themes and tone, and she described it as a record with some teeth to it, stressing that it spotlighted her life exactly as it had been when she wrote the songs. She explained in reported comments that she carried uncomplicated joy about this project, contrasting it with the complicated emotions she had felt around her previous album. She mentioned that for that earlier record, the lag time between creating the music and releasing it had allowed her personal life to undergo significant changes, and those changes colored her perspective. With The Life of a Showgirl, however, she stated that her life had remained in the same place from the time of writing through the release, which gave her an unusual sense of alignment and clarity. Subscribe for more breaking updates on Swift's album moments. The interview was reported to have captured Swift in a candid mood, as she talked about being able to put out a body of work without second-guessing or feeling weighed down by old emotions that no longer matched her reality. She insisted that unlike with some past projects where the delay between creation and release caused her to disconnect from the emotions in the songs, this album represented her current state, making the connection immediate and authentic. Fans listening to her words were said to have felt that her joy and confidence radiated through her answers, reinforcing the idea that The Life of a Showgirl was not just another entry in her discography, but a snapshot of her present moment. Coverage across music outlets highlighted that 50 Cent's public reaction stood out as one of the lighter, more unexpected headlines tied to the album's debut, and the rapper leaned into the moment by reminding followers that he had secured a coveted spot in Swift's lyrics. Observers noted that his celebration carried the same playful swagger that had long characterized his online presence, mixing humor with pride in being singled out by one of the most globally successful musicians of the era. At the same time, media reports connected the dots between the name drop and Swift's penchant for weaving pop culture into her narratives, using references as storytelling tools that added texture to her music. In Ruin the Friendship, the invocation of a 50 Cent song was framed within a memory of a moment when she might have acted differently, underscoring the blend of nostalgia, regret, and whimsy that often infused her lyricism. The fact that 50 Cent chose to broadcast the shout-out amplified the conversation, ensuring that both fan bases collided briefly in excitement, with comments and reposts surging across platforms. Swift's BBC Radio 1 interview was further detailed by outlets that emphasized her remarks about timing, process, and emotional alignment. She was said to have stressed that the lack of a gap between writing and releasing gave her peace of mind and satisfaction, a stark contrast to how she had felt about her last body of work. Those who followed her career closely remarked in reported discussions that her statement suggested a sense of grounding and balance, reflecting how her personal circumstances aligned with her art at that precise moment. Subscribe for more insights as artists reveal their behind-the-scenes stories. The media recalled that throughout her career, Swift had often shared glimpses of how the timing of an album's release impacted her relationship with the material, and this time, she seemed especially pleased that there was no discord between her lived reality and her recorded songs. Critics covering the release pointed out that this alignment might have contributed to the album's sharp, unfiltered energy, which Swift herself described as having teeth. 50 Cent's celebratory Instagram post, meanwhile, continued to draw attention, with entertainment reporters noting how his boast that the shout-out was only for big-timers fit neatly into his persona as both a rapper and business figure. His emphasis that no other celebrity name appeared across the track list gave the mention added weight, prompting followers to leave comments expressing amusement, surprise, and admiration. Analysts observed in their reported commentary that the rapper's quick move to highlight the detail underscored his instincts for seizing cultural moments and amplifying them to his audience. In the days following the album's release, discussion of "Ruin the Friendship" grew online, with fans parsing the lyrics for potential meanings and interpretations, while others fixated simply on the fun of hearing 50 Cent's name embedded in a Taylor Swift song. Reports circulated that the unexpected crossover fueled conversations between fan communities that might not otherwise overlap, illustrating once again how Swift's music often spurred dialogues that stretched beyond her immediate sphere. Journalists noted that Swift herself did not dwell on the name drop in her BBC Radio 1 interview, keeping her focus instead on broader themes of creative satisfaction and emotional transparency. But the lyric was already carving out its own place in the album's lore thanks to 50 Cent's amplification. Industry insiders were reported as saying that the choice to invoke a 50 Cent song in the narrative of "Ruin the Friendship" fit Swift's tradition of drawing on cultural references to anchor moments in time, a method she had employed across much of her career. The lyrics suggested a backdrop of music, memory, and what-if scenarios, but rather than dissecting it publicly, Swift allowed the song to speak for itself, while 50 Cent made sure everyone knew he had been part of it. Subscribe if you want to catch every crossover moment between stars as they happen. As the news spread, entertainment coverage positioned this anecdote alongside the broader rollout of the life of a showgirl, framing it as one of several memorable highlights from release day. Swift's remarks on BBC Radio 1 about her straightforward joy in the album contrasted nicely with the humorous bravado of 50 Cent's social media celebration, giving audiences a mix of earnest artistry and playful celebrity banter. The two storylines together painted a picture of an album release that was not only commercially significant, but culturally lively, filled with both deep insights from the artist and lighthearted reactions from those drawn into her lyrics. Reports emphasized that while Swift did not make a habit of filling her albums with external name drops, the ones she did include always carried an extra spark of attention, and this case was no exception, thanks in part to 50 Cent's quick response. Coverage in fan spaces revealed how listeners reacted to the lyric, with some expressing surprise that the rapper was singled out, while others delighted in the random, yet catchy nature of the reference. Social media posts captured fans joking about replaying the track just to hear the mention again, while others posted clips of 50 Cent's Instagram video with laughing emojis and celebratory captions. Entertainment journalists noted how seamlessly the lyric embedded itself into the broader conversation about the album, proving yet again how even a small detail in Swift's work could expand into its own cultural thread. Meanwhile, Swift's reflections in her BBC Radio 1 sit-down continued to circulate, with headlines quoting her description of the album as having teeth and being rooted in uncomplicated joy. Analysts interpreted those remarks as a window into her current mindset, though she herself avoided layering on heavy interpretation, keeping her comments concise and upbeat. Observers admired how she made a clear distinction between her feelings about this release and her previous project, offering fans a glimpse into the evolving dynamics of her creative journey. The result was a day filled with overlapping narratives, a rapper proudly claiming his place as the only celebrity named on a blockbuster album, and a pop superstar sharing the serene satisfaction of delivering a record aligned with her present self. Together, they contributed to a release day that was both newsworthy and memorable, further cementing the life of a showgirl as one of the defining cultural moments of the season.